The reason is because of the structure of Nigeria and the failure to implement laws generally, not only the constitution. For me, the structure of Nigeria has collapsed.
So what's the
as far as I am concerned.
alternative?
For all these things that we are talking about, restructuring, constitution, if they are going to sit down, if they are honest with themselves, the National Assembly, honest with themselves, no topic should be out of bounds. If they are honest with themselves and as an insane, see, look, listen, this problem, we need to solve it. One of the topics they should be discussing is separation of the various entities in Nigeria, division.
Now,
because
that might sound too extreme for them.
Nigeria, the way it is, well, it might sound too extreme, but the way it is, if you don't take extreme measures, that is the way things will continue to be. There is chaos in the north, in the northeast. There is chaos in the south. There is chaos in the middle belt. There is corruption. People are suffering in Nigeria. There is corruption, heavy-duty corruption in Nigeria. So where are you going to start from? Is it from the police? No. We need to and immediately you tackle this thing at that root by saying, okay, let us, even if we want, we might say, okay, let us go the easy way of regionalism. You understand? But as far as I am concerned, the best way is total separation. Let the north go. Let the southeast go. And if you do that thing, that is the genesis of regional policing.
Barrister, let me. I understand your sentiments, and I well understood. And like I would say, we don't have a collective opinion in this platform.
Exactly.
Any person putting anything out is his or her individual opinion. Exactly. So it's not like we have our. Let's agree with that. So I respect your opinion, which is well made. But I also think that going that extreme will not help us at this stage.
How?
At this time.
How?
Well, an effort to make that happen, we had a civil war. And we don't want to go into the...
No. That is because there was no consensus.
Yeah,
what I'm talking about is a situation...
There will still not be consensus.
Okay, do you not think...
That's a very touchy topic.
There has not been consensus even in solving the police issue.
Yeah, there are
alternatives.
There are alternatives.
Yeah.
And like people talking about restructuring through federalism or confederation.
We have been talking about these things since and they don't work.
No, it has not been implemented. And that is why I'm saying that this current government came into power on that premise.
On that manifesto, as part of that
manifesto. Because we've seen, people that said, okay, let's separate and see if it will work. I'll give you a recent example of Sudan and South Sudan. And, you can go and check their history. Now, but I've always advocated...
No. What do you mean by Sudan and South Sudan? Because as far as I'm concerned, it's working.
Okay, you know what? We'll come back to this area, maybe...
No, it's working.
Why I wouldn't want us to go to this far is because it was a case of probably, I might be right or wrong, but it has been attempted and it plunged Nigeria into civil war.
No, the angle you are going is when it was declared by the Biafrans, for instance, by the Southeast. What I'm talking about is when you do it in a consensus manner, the National Assembly sitting down to say, okay, why not we go our separate ways? Why would people fight?
Well, the National Assembly...
You only fight when you don't negotiate and arrive at a consensus.
Well, sometimes, if you want to solve a problem, you take it in bits. If we try the true federalism or confederation, and if it's working and people are happy, in fact, they will be the one to call for it by themselves. For instance, if the confederation, the south, the west, the east, and whatever geopolitical zone, they are practicing true federalism or confederation, whereby the confederating units are contributing to the center and they are developing at their own pace. In fact, they wouldn't even worry. Nobody would be talking about federal government.
You think they will agree to this one?
Well, I
it's better.
I don't know who is
Okay.
but let's not
It's a better option than
let's not
freelance
digress.
integration.
How is it? How is it?
No, let's not go too political and digress from the main issue here, which is security of lives and property. Like from what I picked up some things from what you said, but there are alternatives, and I've always been the advocate of regional government, and regional government that will bring in regional policing. This idea of state policing, if you enshrine it in this constitution, it will be like every other law. It will not work.
No.
But if you go down to regional government, because I will tell you it will not work, because there have been every government that came in since Obasanjo in 1999 have made laws and changes about Section 7 and Section 8 of the Nigerian Constitution, especially Section 7. What is happening to it? If you see this crisis happening in rivers, in all these places, it's because of the lacuna at Section 7. And nobody has that willpower to resolve it. But in terms of Constitution, if we jettison this unitary, centralized, federal, so-called federal Constitution that we have, and we go to what we had before, like the regional parliamentary system, what will happen in terms of policing is that the people, we gave example of policing in the United Kingdom. Remember, the people through election vote in who will be the police commissioner for every region during local elections. If let the people in the southeast, let the people in Imo State elect.
How would that happen without the amendment of the Constitution?
That is why we need to jettison the Constitution and bring
If
it.
you're talking about jettisoning the Constitution, it means like you're throwing us into chaos.
No, we are not.
If you're talking about amending the Constitution, I'm a lawyer.
1999 Constitution.
No, what?
Yeah, you're a lawyer. I'm a policy analyst.
Is it impossible? Let me ask. Is it impossible to jettison a constitution and replace it with a brand new one that takes into account?
You are thinking about jettisoning this constitution is like kicking it away.
No. There should always be a process when you want to do that. You sit down, pass a new constitution with
the appropriate one. Replacing the constitution or
yes, when you are replacing it, you are not amending it. You are jettisoning it.
So you are not amending. You are jettisoning. So if it's
since that is the case of semantics,
So,
I don't want to use that word.
Because
Let's work without constitution.
no. That's impression, but that's not what it is.
if you want me to interpret further, in terms of jettisoning it, Nigeria have done it before. If you look at what happened in 1976, right? So there is a government in place. They have their laws they are working with. That laws remain laws.
Without constitution.
No,
From where would they drive?
No. You see, you don't just
you
jettisoning the constitution. You don't just wake up and jettison the constitution. I would take example from 1976 when Obasanjo Muritala came in. Obasanjo is still alive, so you can take clues from him. You can go and interview him. They were in government. They have their military law that they were using to govern. They now said, okay, we are here, we're in government, we will use this system, but we need a new constitution for Nigeria. We need to restructure Nigeria. Now, they set up, they are still there working, they set up the Constituent Assembly that people were elected from all local areas. And when they came in there, the Constituent Assembly, remember, the local government system we are talking about today is a product of the Constituent Assembly that was set up in 1976. The Abuja Federal Capital Territory you are talking about today was a product of the Constituent Assembly of 1976, headed by Justice Aguda.
When this thing was happening, do we have any constitution on ground?
There is a law.
No.
Yeah, now we have
constitution
yes,
on ground. Okay.
yes, we
so
have.
They didn't jettison that constitution until a new one came in.
Yes or no? You cannot jettison the law that you are working on.
Good.
But you can jettison the constitution. That's the point I'm making here.
No.
Hold on.
Okay.
Now, the law that they were working they started, remember, the military queues and all these things. I'm taking leave from 1976. When they came in, they know they are not going to continue with that law. They gave a time frame. We are going to jettison this law. I will continue to use this term. We are going to jettison this law by so time. And for us to be able to jettison this law, we need to put things in place. So they
gave a time now when they would keep
exactly
do away with the old constitution.
Yes.
To be replaced. There is no vacuum. So you can't. The other one, the minute the other one is stopping is the minute the new one is taking effect.
That is what I'm
so
the
put
point.
it in a proper in a proper.
But it's still transition now, even if he's stopping. You're still throwing it away.
If you are my teacher here, I will say you have flawed me because of English. Because of English.
English is not our first language, so.
Yeah. So what I'm saying here is this government could do Nigerians favor and say, okay, we are in 2025. In 2027, we need a new constitution. And this constitution would be generated through a proper constitution production or constitutional development. They can constitute a national, a constituent assembly like was done in 1976. Not the one that our good Lord Jonathan or Obasanjo did, but appropriate constituent assembly.
But it will not work.
Well,
it will not work. Do you know why?
Let me bring it to light here.
Okay.
Now, that assembly would look at how, because there have been questions of restructuring, state policing, local government. That constituent assembly will look at these problems, including insecurity that we are talking about today, in a holistic manner. And that constituent assembly, from there, set up a constitution drafting committee that will give us maybe a 2027.
Dr. Eze, you're taking us too far. You are suggesting constitution replace jettisoning. Let me use that word. It doesn't happen overnight. You mentioned 2026, 2027.
Yeah.
Are you saying that people should keep on dying, being killed because of insecurity, till pending when we jettison the 1999 constitution?
Don't you know that the reason that people are dying is because there are a set of people in Nigeria. These people, remember, they are carrying AKs of what do you call it? Guns. Exactly. Who is giving them those guns?
Now, the issue is not the much as the constitution has issue in terms of the setting up of the security services of Nigeria, the police, particularly making it exclusively the federal government, institution and exclusively reserved in the exclusive legislative.
Yeah, according to the second schedule, part one.
Is there
nothing
that can be done, at least to arrest the security situation? We've had this constitution since 1999. And it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
No, it's been bad.
No. To be honest, I don't know how old you were in 1999 to 2007 when Obasanjo handed over. But I was old enough then to know that the security situation is not as bad as it is in the country now. We had that constitution then. You can't dispute that.
I agree with you, but what of OD? What the security situation there?
The security issue was a military. It wasn't as a result of insecurity. It was military that wiped out that community when it was alleged that they killed some military men.
Well,
so it was.
If
a case of headers killing people.
Generally, in the country, I will have to agree with you. The security wasn't this way.
It wasn't this way.
It was very much better.
Could be done while we work on the constitution. We've agreed that yes, the constitution is bad. Even Nigeria as a country. What? Somebody said that Nigeria was even the name given to us. The real meaning of Nigeria is a mega area.
well, I think we'll dedicate a session to discuss
Nigeria itself as a country is on the 40 premise. The constitution is on the 40 premise. But the Bible says, how long shall we be in sin? Shall we be in sin and
Forgiveness.
For grace to abound for us. Shall we continue in this situation? For how long shall we continue in this situation?
Now,
there's nothing that can be done.
I would have felt better if you had used an adage from your ancestors instead of the Bible.
If I may come to that, if I may.
My people talk say in my adage, say only know that walk out that
Bam.
If your house is on fire, you don't pursue rat.
Exactly.
So this issue of justice the constitution is a case of a man pursuing rat when his house is on fire. You have to quench the fire first before you start pursuing the rat.
Yeah, but
so are you not happy with that?
I'm very, very happy.
Asking this question in this manner and trying to find an answer to it, to me, if I try to feel okay with the way things are, it may be like I'm giving myself false hope. Because I'll give you an example. You see, in Benue State today, the governor knows 100% that he cannot give the commissioner of police an instruction that the commissioner of police would 100% abide to. And the commissioner of police have a constitutional power not to abide with what the governor is saying. And we say that the governor is the chief security officer of the state. That means you are the chief security officer of the state just as a portfolio. You don't have powers. You cannot give orders.
See,
so there is no solution.
Dr. There is a solution. You recall before Goodluck Jonathan left office, the former chief of army staff or chief of defense staff, General Hejrika, I don't know what his position was. I think it was chief of army staff then. He was pounding Boko Haram. That was when they were coming up. And they reported him to, ICC, International Criminal Court or whatever. They reported him.
Who reported him?
The powers that be, who are allegedly funding the terrorism.
Okay.
So if the government is willing to put an end to this insecurity, they know what to do.
And they're doing what they know what to do.
They are not. They are not doing anything.
What can
they
they
don't
do
tell me
for
that these terrorists have more sophisticated weapon than the government. Abacha, when he was alive, he said whenever a demonstration passes more than 24 hours or carries on for more than 24 hours, the hand of government is there. Whether internal or external. So any riot or any demonstration that's more than 24 hours,
there's somebody funding it.
There's somebody funding it. Not internal or external. So, and I agree with that.
And which takes me back to what I said.
So
I've
now, there are some things they could do as a stopgap to all these things.
What?
We have a president.
What would they do?
Now, he was asking the IG when he went to Benue State. Well, I would say they didn't go for any security.
They went for political.
So he was asking the Inspector General of Police, has any arrest been made? You don't have to ask him there. He has the IG's phone number. Obviously,
exactly.
If you ask him, IG will be renewed now as a Obama to answer that call. He won't be standing. He will be asking, Mr. President, Mr. President. You will ask him what is happening, who have been arrested, who are those behind this attack. That's the question you should ask him. Who are those? Because as the IG of police, he should know. Because if he doesn't know, then why is he an IG of police? The first question, who are the people behind this attack?
So he waited.
Have they been arrested?
He waited for how long?
For 3-4 days.
3-4 days. And then after 3-4 days, he then came on television.
Yes.
And then we was asking the IG, has anyone been arrested?
So that's what I'm saying.
Can you imagine? For the camera.
For the camera.
Yeah.
You know, even here in this country or anywhere, in any civilized society, once there is an attack, it doesn't take 5 minutes for the person responsible to tell you whom they are suspecting. And 99% of the time, their suspicion is right because they have intelligence reports.
Exactly.
They will tell you this attack was carried out by so-so group. And they have never been wrong about it, except when America wants to play politics.
Exactly.
When they want to go and find weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Or nuclear weapons in Iran.
So that's what you know that he clearly played. But if it's an internal attack, once anything happens, it doesn't. The only time he tells them to tell you whom they are suspecting is setting up the press conference. You know, that's what they normally do. Once there's an attack, within 10 minutes, they'll tell you the police commissioner is coming to
Exactly.
press.
Give you the scenario.
Yes, and once he comes there, he will tell you this is what we are suspecting. Give people, directions how to stay safe in the moment while they apprehend the perpetrators, and within hours, they'll start getting them. Now, if the IG cannot answer to the president, who are those behind this attack? What should he do?
No, but the IG does not have the means to answer to the president.
How?
He doesn't.
How?
No. How?
No.
Yeah,
How?
I just told you.
How?
No, he's answerable to the president.
Yeah?
He's answerable to the
Yeah, but
He's
he doesn't,
answerable
have,
to
he
the
doesn't
president.
have this information.
Why wouldn't he have the information?
No, he doesn't have it.
Then he's not supposed to be there. Why is he there?
So this is the question we are asking, because this is police crime is local. Policing should be local.
At least to start with, he has a commissioner in Benue State. There's a commissioner of police.
Okay, I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying that he doesn't, not that he doesn't want to know, but that he doesn't know because the structure does not allow him to know.
No, because you are giving an example of US. If you look at last week or last 2 weeks, there was unfortunately some legislators were assassinated. Right? It was not the chief of federal police in America that was addressing the people. It was
The local policeman,
county,
yes.
The local police county.
Yes.
Their head, who is elected through a local election.
But this thing has been going on for a long time, that the police should be conscious and should be aware of what is happening and should have this information.
I will take you back to the Constitution.
Don't take me back to the Constitution. The one you said we should do medicine.
Now, let us look at this way. If police is organized in a way that the DPO of a police or area commander of the police is elected through a local election.
No.
Just 1 minute. The DPO comes from that town. The commissioner of the police is elected from the state.
Doctors, we have not gotten there. This is a very, very idealistic and very, very fantastic.
That is why people will continue to die until we get there.
No, I don't agree with you.
So what do you think should happen in the immediate to stop the killing?
What I should think should happen is the police should sit up and at least do some level of work, and there should be responsibility. If the
IG sat up when the president asked him if any arrests have been made. He stood up.
Yeah, he stood up.
But didn't say anything.
What would he say? If they are saying police should sit up, the IG is sit up.
Now, what I'm
I didn't even know that was where he was going. He said that he sat up.
He sat up, but I want him to sit up.
Not sat up.
Exactly.
That's why things are not working, because they are fond of starting up instead of sitting up.
So what I'm saying is this, there should be resignations and firing. There should, in the civilized country, you don't have a second chance.
At all.
You don't. Once you're in a position of authority, you do not have it. Even in your workplace,
Exactly.
you don't have the opportunity to make one mistake.
Exactly.
Before they fire you.
Exactly.
But in this case, who will fire who?
The president.
The president that is returning an IG who is overdue. That's the problem.
The problem is that the president will not fire him because of corruption.
Yeah.
Because of corruption, not necessarily because of the faulty constitution.
Yeah, and do you know the problem? Again, people don't know this constitution. If you look at I'm trying to remember which section of the constitution.
If people know the constitution, what benefit do you think that will be?
Citing it.
They will not be going to be citing it.
They will begin to question it, because even the president, who is supposed to, I think he's which part of the constitution, but I remember is section 8 of either the second.
Remember, what the people want is for their problems to be solved.
Yeah.
Not to know the provision in the constitution that the thing is.
But if you want your problem to be solved, you need to know the root of it.
No, because they don't need to.
Because this IG now, him being there, with due respect, this IG, him being there is even illegal by the constitution of the land. And I'm trying to quote a section of the constitution. I don't know if it's the part 2, section 8, section 8 part 2C, part 2C, the federal character principle of appointing security chiefs, which the constitution made provision.
Nigeria doesn't obey federal character. Nigeria doesn't obey federal character at all.
The issue is this.
And people are not questioning it.
The government.
People are not questioning it because they are busy looking for Indomie noodles to eat.
That is it, looking for Indomie warehouse.
If the government is serious, if the president is serious, he knows what to do. Fire the IG.
The person you want to fire is the person that somebody has gone to court to say this this IG have overstayed this president.
I think this issue is quite interesting, and we may not exhaust it in one day. We will continue the conversation and continue to hope and pray
that Nigeria will divide peacefully.
Well, you're praying that we will jettison the constitution.
Yeah, my hope,
and I hope and pray that at least there will be an interim measure to secure life and property pending when Nigeria will divide and pending when the constitution will
I'll leave it at that. We'll come back.
We'll leave it at that.